I don't see nothing there. Ain't nothing there. Ain't no growth. It get worse. That's why they got to tear the whole thing down and start over. Ain't nothing there for me. It's death, dying. Stop telling me, hey man, that's who made you who you are. It's not. I was never supposed to be handicapped by being born in that place. That didn't make me tough. It didn't make me tough at all. We was born in some fucked up environments. PTSD, bro. It's a lot of people that didn't make it. A lot of your homegirls is out here suffering. A lot of these chicks that y'all went to high school with, man, they crying their eyes out every single night. And they looking for an answer, looking for growth, looking for help, looking for somebody to give them some kind of insight, and you can't deliver it to them because you're not a reflection of it yourself either. Blind leading the blind. Most of y'all started a YouTube channel where you started your content creation journey based off of the fact that you was just trying to get some visibility. The same reason why you got on Instagram. You ain't on here to be able to help nobody. You ain't on here to be able to do nothing for nobody. You ain't on here in order to be able to add value to nobody at all. It's the blind leading the blind. The blind leading, I told some other people, right? Because contrary to popular belief, I know a lot of people think that I just got here around the same time during the pandemic that Kevin Samuels blew up. And God bless my brother Kevin Samuels, and had an opportunity to be able to tap in with his mom and his daughter recently. But a lot of people, because they just discovered me around that time, think that I had just got on the scene. But I've been on the scene for a long time. I've been putting in work for a long time. One of the things that me and Kev used to talk about was the fact that we would not remove or delete the very first videos or the old footage of us because we wanted to see people, we wanted to help people to see the progress that we made along the way, or to basically document our life journey. And that was one of the goals, in addition to whatever it was that we was doing at the time. One of our goals was to make sure that people know where we came from so they can see the blueprint of how it is that you continue to grow. And so you got to have a pure heart. You got to have a real reason as to why you're doing this, or it's not going to be meaningful to you. A lot of people ask me, Anton, why are you so dedicated? How are you so not able to get burned out? Because I genuinely believe in what I'm doing. I genuinely believe this is not a job for me. This is not something that I'm into because, you know what I'm saying? I just want to do it because, oh man, no. The reason that I've been able to be so consistent with it is because it's meaningful to me. It means a lot to me. I actually care about what I'm doing and who I'm affecting and the words that's coming out of my mouth. And so I'm not missing on something that I genuinely care about. You can't get me to take a break. I don't take days off from love. I don't take days off from telling people the truth. And I do this even when I'm giving you a reality check, even when I'm telling you the truth about who you really are, because nobody around you is going to tell you because they care about whether or not you're going to perceive them the right way rather than giving you the right information. I do it out of love because hopefully somebody hears this message and they say, yo, all right, you know what? Maybe not everything that he says apply to me, but a lot of what he says was true. Instead of me looking around and saying, ooh, who he talking about, I'm wondering if this is applicable to me. And if I decided that I wanted to make an adjustment and I wanted to stop jacking off every day and I wanted to start getting myself together instead of complaining, instead of asking for a woman, being in a position to attract the thing that I am, if I decided to do that, what would that look like? That's the way that you're supposed to take it. You're supposed to take the criticism out of love, because I'm not saying it to put you down. I'm saying it so that you can get a reality check and look in the mirror and say, damn, you know what? I can do better. I can have better results. And you can get the chick, you can get the money, you can get the assets, you can have your cake and eat it too, but it's going to come with a honest to God assessment of who you are so you can make the adjustment to ultimately get to the results and be the person that you're supposed to be. But you can't get there the way that you've been doing it. You've been doing the same thing every single day. Listen, no matter how many times that you swipe right, or how many times that you swipe left, or how many applications that you get on, and how many posts that you put up, and how naked that you become, no matter what, you're not going to get no different results. You're not going to attract any different people. You're not. That's not how it works. And the beautiful thing about God, and I tell this to people all the time, is one of the reasons why you don't see a whole lot of people progress the way that you think that they should be progressing, in the same way that the world progresses, because God don't operate like that. And the way that God operates is, if you're going to do it and then attach his name to it, if it's truly of him. I'm not talking about these false prophets. I'm not talking about these fake ass churches. I'm not talking about Jamal Bryant. I'm not talking about the dude that groomed the 14-year-old that ultimately went married the 18-year-old. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about these punk ass churches down in Atlanta that continue to fly the alphabet flag and then they say that they of God. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about this punk ass Catholic church that continue to embrace getting money and then they continue to be a part of whatever it is that's going on in the darkest parts of the world. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm not talking about these punk ass preachers that we now act like we forgot about, but we know that they were still touching little kids. And it was a whole rash of dudes that was out there getting arrested. That was a part of the Catholic Church. Yep. I'm not talking about any of these hoteps or any of these Hebrew Israelites that's out here trying to preach the word. I'm not talking about any of these jailhouse Muslims that lean into it but actually operate like a gang inside of the prisons. I ain't talking about none of them. I ain't talking about none of that. None of that. None of that bullshit. None of this dressing it up in order to use it to do things that's not best for you. I'm talking about real life growth, real life opportunity, real life transition, real life reality check so that you can ultimately get the thing that you can attract, not the thing that you think that you deserve, but thing that's best for you. And the only way that you can do that, the only way that you can get there, and I keep telling y'all, God does not allow for his children to skip steps. You got to learn the lesson. You got to pass the test or he going to make you repeat it every single time. That's the way that righteousness works. In order to be able to attach God's name to it, you got to pass the test. You cannot skip steps. That's not how it works. You got to graduate level to level, level to level. You cannot give steak over into a baby. The baby got to eat baby food. When you a newborn again creature in Christ, you got to grow. You got to get this work. You got to study. You got to actually implement it. That's why he says be faithful over little and then I'll make you ruler over much. Is because it is a growth to growth growing learning curve that ultimately you then get the understanding and then seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness and everything else will be added unto you. When you learn exactly how it is that God operates, you don't worry about the results. You more or less embrace the process and you just get the results that come along with it. We don't have to seek it, it already comes with it. I don't have to worship it, it already comes with it. Right? Me living in my purpose ultimately gets me the results. I don't have to worry about chasing it, it automatically comes with it. That's what being a chaser really is. But we don't want to have that conversation. We don't want to embrace the growth. We don't want to do things differently. The only thing that we want to focus on is what makes us feel good. And you doing the thing that make you feel good is gonna have you busting hell wide open. It's gonna have you ruining your relationships. It's gonna have you trauma bonding with people that's not best for you. It's gonna have your algorithm fucked up. It's gonna have the things that you attract yourself to be absolutely horrible. And it's gonna have you looking for dopamine hits in every single way that's not best for you. And you're gonna fuck up your life, and then you're gonna start to give that same generational curse over into your children because nobody told you that you shouldn't have children out of wedlock. And instead of you taking accountability for the situation that you put your kids in, you keep thinking that it's cool and that it's everybody else's fault and blaming it on the man and blaming it on the woman instead of looking in the mirror and said, I need to do better. I got to do better. And now at this point, it's not even about you. When you have children, it no longer becomes about you. It's more or less about the people that then depend on you. That's why men are in a unique position because we understand that we come last because we put everybody else before us. Real men, not men that's sitting on a couch, hobosexuals looking at couch search, living with their chick. Real men understand that in reality, regardless of whether or not we own our purpose or not, we really come last because we make the sacrifice for everybody else that's around us. Real leaders of companies, we really put everybody else first because we understand the best version of you is the best version of ourselves. So we so busy nurturing you and nurturing talent and doing the right thing for you. The real people that love you will always be focused on what's best for you. They're not even thinking about themselves. That's what love is, even sexually. That's how you know we don't give a fuck about you. Because if we just fucking you to get a nut, then that means that you just a thing, you just a situationship. But if we fucking you, or we making love to you, or we want the best for you, and we so focused on you getting off, that's how I know I care about you. Because I want the best thing for you. Everything that you do, it translates into every single part of your life. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, sexually. It's always supposed to translate. Your life is supposed to be a one for one for one for one for one. It's supposed to be the same way across the board. And if you have any inconsistencies, or you great in this, but you trash in that, then that means you got some work to do. You got some work to do. If you great at making money, but you absolutely trash when it comes to people, you got some work to do. If you have no spiritual connection and you have no consistency in your life and your calendar is completely misaligned, but you can dedicate yourself to video games, you got some work to do. If everybody in your life hates you and you continue to tell yourself that you're an introvert and you continue to lean on something that somebody taught you to believe, you got some work to do. We all got work to do. We all got growth that we need to make. But the first thing that we got to do is we got to take accountability for who we are. And if somebody can't tell you who you are without you getting overly offended, then we got a bigger problem on our hands, because you can't even grow unless you start to become honest about what it is in the situation that you're in the first place. If you don't even take inventory of what you got inside of your backpack, how are we going to sit here and be able to build a house?